and it's going to tell you a little bit about that process, and hopefully we'll be forthcoming with details and sharing with some of the ins and outs of what that deal actually looked like, how the deal actually transpired, maybe not exactly what the deal was, but
Thanks for the invite, Doug. It's always fun coming in Arbor, where you have a far superior business school, but lately inferior football team. We'll leave that aside. GiftZip was founded in East Lansing, for those who don't know, and it's a painfully simple concept. In the late 1990s, gift cards came around, and they went from about a $10 billion market in 2000 to about a $45 billion market in 2003. The company that revolutionized that was a company called Blackhawk Network, and they basically took gift cards from basically point of sale to kiosk. And so you've all seen kiosks at department stores and grocery stores. So the advent of the e-gift card market was right around 2008. So before that, only online retailers like Zappos and Amazon had e-gift cards, and other folks caught on, and GiftZip kind of caught the wave of that. We looked and said, can we do the same thing that Blackhawk did in the plastic gift card space and e-gift card space? The value prop is the same. Searching around the internet is a pain, just like driving around different stores is a pain. And can we aggregate retailers and offer their e-gift cards online in one spot, one convenient location? The build out was painfully simple as well. I'm not personally a great developer, but what you're looking at is a screenshot of GiftZip, which is basically a SQL database that's powering a site that has linkages to e-gift cards all around the internet, and we make our money through affiliate, very similar to a lot of websites out there. People that pay us are Google, Commission Junction, Linkshare. The challenge and the reason why no one did it at the time is because e-gift cards were so new that affiliate agreements didn't apply to them, and retailers really weren't all that anxious to let that happen. The bricks and mortar retailers, business function really relies upon you going to the store, being wild with products, and the notion that you could buy an e-gift card, send an e-gift card, redeem an e-gift card, all without ever setting foot in their store was something they were slow to catch on to, but we really paved the way for the market. Quick timeline of the...
I think it's me, right?
I can do a quick timeline of the company while it comes up. Here you go. So we were founded in October 2008. It was myself and my cousin. And the website went live in November 2008. Again, not very complicated. And at that time, we were driving traffic towards retailers' gift cards for absolutely no charge and just tracking the data. And our first retailer was signed in June 2009. So you have a 6 to 7 month period where we're doing absolutely nothing but driving traffic and recording it. Our first retailer was ironically Fathead, which is based out of Livonia, and it was a situation where I literally went down like a traveling vacuum salesman, opened up my laptop and said, this is what we're doing. And oddly enough, the person working the front desk that day was Todd Lunsford, the CEO, and he said, this is cool, sell more of them, we'll pay for it. I said, all right, we have a customer, that's great. So in the next year, we sold 200 retailer agreements, all through affiliate, and then we were building up traffic, building up sales, and we're building up traction on the web, and we were starting to get the attention of very large gift card resellers in the space right around January 2011. We had some talks with some early stage potential acquirers. It wasn't a good fit and it wasn't what we were looking for. And the business was acquired by SVM, which is basically the Google in the gift card space, in July this year, after about 2 or 3 months of negotiations with them. So it was a very quick to acquisition business. I would classify it as an early exit. We never took on a penny of outside money. My investors were Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and some Stafford loans. And ultimately that paid out because you don't, as I was rehashing with Doug, you don't really have to sell your company for a lot of money if you own 100% of it. So I'm a huge advocate of early exits. I actually work full-time in the venture capital industry, and so I got to look at both sides of that transaction. So decision to sell, I told Doug I talked briefly about it, and I put money out there 4 times just because you really do have to separate your business in terms of math. At the end of the day, we all work and we all build these businesses in an attempt to make money, and you really do have to separate kind of the ego and and the passion and all that stuff from the math. And we were looking at an acquisition from essentially the Google in our space. We basically said, their proposition to us is, we're going to compete with you if you don't sell to us. And right now you offer a big value to us because you basically give us a 2 or 3 year head start in an industry that we have ignored probably for the wrong. And so when you look at how they value our business, it probably wasn't recurring revenues, it probably wasn't IP because there's virtually none. It was literally just what would it cost us as a large company to recreate what you've done as a startup. And one of the things I've realized I'm now an advisor to SBM for the next 2 or 3 years, is that large companies can't innovate and execute nearly as quickly as small companies. I continually barrage with the question of, why didn't Google do this? And it's like, well, Google would have to put 10 people on this for a year at $150,000 a year, and that's $1.5 million. That's a pretty good exit for a couple of college kids, So that's why they don't, and it's de-risked and it's going. So I put people on there. People are business. When you look at your business, it's people. I had folks that were starting to lose interest, or basically, some of our core people wanted to do other things. We had this thing up and running. There wasn't a lot of input that needed, and we were just kind of sitting on it. We were all getting a little antsy. So that was another reason that made us move. Risk, again, it gets back to, do you really want to compete? And any future analysis about an acquisition has to be risk adjusted. So if you have a $1 million company and you think you can take it to $10 million, but your chance of doing that is 10%, you're basically break even. And very few people go through that analysis. And then time. I personally don't want to spend my entire life in the gift card industry. Oddly enough, I now have a non-compete for 10 years, but I'm not allowed to work in it. And that was the quickest document I've ever signed. I didn't even read it. But yeah, so it's time. You can do lots of businesses, and there's thousands of gift cards or GiftZips type companies in the world, but you only get one life. So you want to make sure that you're always investing in something that you're really, really passionate about. And if your goal is to do 5, 10, 20 of these things, make sure you can do the recycle, that you can do that. So it was a perfect workout for a relatively early exit, pre-venture capital, all that. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions about the model, the process, the people, the exit, anything. I'm bound that I can't release details of the transaction because it's totally private, but anything I can tell you, I certainly will. So.
What do you foresee as the next step in the gift card industry?
This right here. Everything's going to this. So right on the end of GiftZip, we were already doing workings with processors that basically enable you to buy, send, and redeem gift cards right from your phone. And that's some pretty good software that's going into that, and that was way more innovative than we ever were. And so, again, there are a lot of market changes, but gift cards will be a huge part of the future. And in my mind, I think right now digital gift cards are probably 1 to 2% of the market once you take out Amazon and Zappos. Digital will probably be 15 to 20% in the next 5 to 10 years. So it's a big growth industry, and the plastic players really want to get into that.
Tell us a bit how the deal actually happened. Did the corporate strategy guys end up approaching you first, or were they shopping the company, or?
It was really funny. So we have, in the gift card industry, like anything else, it's a $100 billion industry, so it's enormous, but it's probably run by 50 people, like anything else. And the trade show for it is the Motivation Show in Chicago, because that's the big incentive marketing show. First time I went out to the Motivation Show, I was begging people to take meetings with me so I could sign retailers and talk to all the big gift card people. The next time we were at the Motivation Show, a year later, and this shows how fast a startup can move, people were begging to take interviews with me, and that was like totally flip-flop. I was walking around, and we'd finally made like GiftZip.com polo shirts, and everyone was like grabbing me and like, we want to talk to you guys. And so that kind of gave me a signal there was something going on, but they were the ones that originally approached. And that's another big thing that I would look at when you're evaluating early exits. Any transaction, in my mind, you're either a lamb to the slaughter or a lion to the feast. And one thing you really can't control, especially in a really narrow industry like this, so there were potentially 5-ish acquirers for GiftZip. So I knew that when those acquisitions, and we ran through 2 or 3 of them, and so when we were getting towards the end, I'm thinking, I don't have a whole lot of control over when this exit happens. So I can either be a lamb to the slaughter or a lion to the feast. So when people ask you questions, especially in an industry that's as competitive as this, with as much money as this, you listen to them. So that's how they approach us.
Did you try building a market around the deal at all, or try to find alternative acquirers?
We did. We were in deep dive with 3 folks, and oddly enough, ultimately I sold to one that had a offer that was worse than the other, but had the backbone and an earn-out potential that was far better than the previous 2. So it was a little bit of I really want GiftZip to last for 10 plus years and be able to point to it and see it as a success. You do get those kind of baby attachments to your business, which probably are bad for money, but ultimately it's going to happen. Yeah.
So you went after retailers. How did you go to people redeeming cards? Did you go after them, or did the retailers?
So we don't have anything on the redemption of cards. Once the cards are sold, we're paid. So, but people coming to GiftZip, you mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, we market it the same way you'd market any web service, virally, through socials, etc. We got some good press coverage because it was a very innovative concept. We were the first. GiftZip is really a good example of a first-to-market player. So we were doing something new. We were a good story. We're totally free. So when it came time for a business model, I really compared it to like the airline aggregators. I thought, because again, we're doing this for 6 months for free, and I'm thinking, okay, we got to make this a business. I can either charge people $1 to buy a $50 gift card because it's convenient, or I can charge the retailers 5% or 6% or whatever to sell their cards. What's worked in the airline industry? Well, is at the same time they basically Kayak has buried Expedia and Travelocity and all those people that charge you extra on your tickets. Debatably worth the $5 or whatever, but again, it's the model. But that, we were very quick to the consumers because there's really no reason to not go to GiftZip. It costs nothing. It gets you to the card faster. You get selection speed, all those same things. Yeah.
When you were doing your first year of tracking, were you looking for whether or not there was anybody else out there developing something similar?
There wasn't, and it was mostly because no one had challenged the affiliate channel on it yet. The affiliate markets were closed to gift cards. Every single affiliate agreement said we will not pay on gift cards, and Amazon actually sampled with it in 2007, allowing a 6% commission on gift cards for the 2007 Christmas season. But they were the only ones open to it. But we basically paved the way for probably our future competitors that are now probably open to it. And part of it is the space. It's becoming more robust in the affiliate space. But the affiliate space faces new challenges too. So state tax laws are now affecting the affiliate space. Amazon has pulled out of Illinois, California, and 3 or 4 other states. And so there's changes in the industry too. Yeah.
What metrics can you share around usage, visitors, conversions?
Sure. So I can't get too specific because I'll get sued. But for the most part, GiftZip is a very, very low volume user site and very, very high conversion site. And that's part of, when you look at it, we have absolutely no content. We're a buying tool. So in our space, it's way better to have 20,000 monthly users and have 15,000 convert than 1 million users and 5,000 convert. So that's kind of how we've always been. So it's never been a big traffic story, but our conversion percentage is great. So, yeah.
Can you talk about revenue or profitability, or is that off limits?
Yeah, can't do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say the bulk of the value of the company was? Your technology, your customer list, your PR, your reputation?
I think it's a combination. So in the internet space, I view your value 3 ways. One of them is recurring revenues, and those are revenues that can occur without direct inputs, and that's what makes you valuable in one way. The other one is your brand or market share. I think those are interchangeable, however you want to measure that. And the other one's your IP. So I'm going to shut down the third one because we don't have any IP. So we had some combination of the first two that made us valuable. All good?
Yeah, we'll save any additional questions for the end, so you do need to move on to the next speaker. But please, let's give it. Are you going to Disneyland or what? Alright guys, so next up we have Schiff and Chase Lee from FetchNotes.
Hey everyone. There we go. Hey everyone, I'm Alex Schiff.
I'm Chase Lee.
We're from FetchNotes, and before we tell you guys, what we're doing, I wanted to talk a little bit about the problem that we're solving, so I think that's a little bit more important. So, the problem is how to capture, organize, and manage information. All that stuff that is rolling around in your head every day. Tasks, ideas, reminders, I gotta go to this meeting, I gotta remember to put this in, in whatever I use to manage tasks. And how you just get all that stuff out of your brain and into your workflow. And so, how are people solving that right now? You have notebooks, pen and paper. A lot of people that we talk to in customer interviews were texting and emailing themselves. And using any assortment of apps and software.
Yeah, and so there's a ton of solutions out there, and we thought, we talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people had, they use all these different things, but they kept saying, it doesn't quite work for me. And so we started asking ourselves, why doesn't this stuff actually work for people? So first of all, none of these tools really give you a great way to organize. They either force you to micromanage, or they don't just give you simple, quick tools to organize your information, which is really important, and so stuff kind of gets buried and jumbled around. Second, there's things like text messaging. A lot of people resort to that because it's such a quick, simple interaction. But what ends up happening is that your text messages get stuck there. They're just on your phone. There's no way to access them anywhere else. And that's true across all sorts of solutions that people have tried, such as email. When you get so much email, how are you actually going to dig something out of it? And then lastly, there's a lot of applications that have tried to solve this problem and create sort of a unified way of dealing with your notes. But too many of them just take a personal approach. And notes can be a lot more than that.
So how are we solving this? First is simple, ubiquitous capture. We want to be available everywhere you are, no more than 2 clicks away from any device. You can access us via text messaging, email, IM, and voice, and those are just the low-tech ways. We also have our web and mobile apps and desktop widget, which we want to be the primary ways that you interact with us. The second is effortless organization. This is what Chase was talking about. We use tag-based organization rather than, say, like a folder hierarchy. It's much more robust, and what it allows you to do is basically create your organization system automatically through your usage rather than declaring it. And lastly, we want to be integrated with your workflow. We want to be tightly synced with the people and the tools that you already use. We don't want to force you to change. And so now we're going to demo for the first time to the public our web application.
All right, so here we are. And our landing page is still a little bit under the works, as is the rest of the application. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And you'll see that we've been using this internally. These are some of the notes that people have shared with me. And we'll just go ahead and add them. And there you go. You can see it's added. And because I did @Alex in there, Alex is actually going to get a text message because I shared that with him. And you'll see it was tagged to do. And so over there on the right are all my tags that I can use to bring up individual lists of notes. So there you go. And now Alex is going to go ahead and he's going to show you the desktop widget.
So basically right here is the desktop widget. You can hotkey in and out of it. You can set those hotkeys. Basically, you just pull it up just like any other chat window. Like go to the grocery store hash 2. And it stores that note. I want to get out of it. Add another note. I just hit escape. And then, I want to see my to-dos. I can see all my to-dos. Say I just want to see my FetchNotes to-dos. You can say fetch to-do, FetchNotes, and get both of those tags. It'll only show me things that have both of those tags. So you can see it's really, really robust.
All right, awesome. So right now, we didn't have a really good way to demo to you tonight, but we've also have an Android app that we've released internally to the team and releasing to family and friends this week. And then we're also working on our iPhone app, and that'll be coming out soon as well. So these are all sort of alpha versions that we'll be demoing in the next couple weeks with people and then releasing to the public very soon.
Thanks, guys. Questions? Yeah, you guys.
Okay.
How are we going to make money?
How we can make money? So we have a standard freemium model where in the free version, in the applications themselves, there will be advertising just so that we recoup the cost of serving those users. But the primary source of revenue is going to be for our premium version, which is going to be where certain features are such as the integrations, like we said, syncing with your other tools. So for example, being able to add a note through FetchNotes, like by sending a text message and having it sync with your Google Calendar. Also, the text messaging is going to be in the premium version, so split up that.
Have you done any usability testing on a desktop app? Because a menu would be nice.
A what?
A menu or some instruction.
Yeah.
Right, so our goal for the initial desktop widget was just really simple, quick capture, because that's what people really want, especially in a desktop experience. They normally don't get that because people keep delivering to them applications with way too many features. And so we found out that a lot of people just wanted some sort of quick entry tool. I don't know if you've ever used like one of those like search everything type tools where you just open up something quick like that and then you just type something in and it finds it on your computer. They wanted something that easy to use, and that's why we designed that. We've also looked at doing a full-blown desktop app, and so if we find that enough people want that, we'll go that route. But for now, this was something that we could actually get out and test with people, and the speed of just doing that, people have just really been very positive. Wow.
Do you plan on allowing capturing photos or screenshots or anything like that?
Yeah, down the road, absolutely. Right now, we're just focusing on text capture, but that's been something that people have said that they would want for sure. We wanted to make sure that would definitely be something that people were interested in first. Interestingly enough, the people that have said that they want photo capture have also said, I would pay for that, which is interesting.
You made a couple of statements about how people want. How have you validated your suppositions?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I want to know how we validated what people want.
For pretty much the first 3 to 4 months of working on this idea, all I did was talk to people and figure out, why isn't whatever they're using working. I was actually working on another idea and found that I was having this trouble of I was getting all these other ideas and where do I put them? I was text messaging to myself. I was trying to use Evernote. I talked to other people more like as a self-serving exercise to figure out what they were using, and I just discovered this really haphazard way of I text my friend and he puts it in his Google Docs and we share the Google, and it's just there's nothing that's really solved this. And so we've been talking to people pretty much nonstop, and even as we've been doing product development, getting things in front of users as much as possible.
Right. And at every stage of development, we're always showing it to some of our early adopters, people that we've been talking to. We actually keep internal lists using our product of different groups of people that we need to demo things to or get feedback from. So.
You say it's social, obviously at Alex, people have to sign up for a profile or whatever to activate that ad kind of tag?
No, it's pretty simple. You just sign up with the username, password, email address, and you're good to go. And then, yeah, that username is what people can, how they send notes at you. In addition to being able to send notes to individual users, you'll also be able to send them to groups. So I guess one thing we didn't talk about was the ability to actually create a group, put a bunch of people in it, and then, like send a note, let's say at FetchNotes would go to everyone on the FetchNotes team.
And the tags that are in that note, say you have your to-do tag in a note that also has at FetchNotes, that's going to add that note to everyone's to-do list that is in that group. And so I see you nodding right there. That's actually been something that's been really popular. We demoed that feature at Tech Twilight earlier this year, and especially with families and couples, that have a lot of communication going back and forth with one another, that's been really, really popular, and with companies as well for managing their teams.
So if I'm using this feature, this FetchNotes, and I love it, but my wife isn't on the bandwagon yet, can I add her name and create like a contact for her so she'll still get text messages?
Yeah, so you can actually just add her email address, phone number, anything that doesn't require some sort of sign up, and you can still send stuff to her that way. So she doesn't actually have to sign up herself.
And then hopefully after she sees how much you love it, she signs up too.
How many characters is the message? How large can it be?
As many as you want.
Pages or?
Yes. Yeah. So one thing we didn't show on the web app was that actually you can have that box, that short box, you have it drop down, and you can type long notes, manage them there as well.
We wanted to optimize though for the biggest market need that we saw was for those quick notes like remember to do this, talk to this person, I have a meeting tonight here. That's where the real need for a quick solution is, but we do want to offer the functionality to store those longer notes.
We'll see if there are any questions at the end, but thank you.
Feel free to come up and talk to us after.
Thanks.
Thanks, Max. Appreciate it.
Am I?
All right. Next up, we have Xander from AllHandsActive, which is in our downtown here.
Alright, that works. So I did dress night tonight because I'm here to kind of sell you on a concept that seems pretty ludicrous on space. I'm representing a basement full of tools and people who tend to make stuff. I say hackerspace, and the name probably doesn't have a lot of meaning to you. But I think hackerspace can play a pretty vital role in startup communities because we're kind of at the pre-incubator stage. We have Tech Arbor, there's Tech Brewery, we have various other stuff like that, but we don't have a place for people to come and build out their ideas, especially in the hardware space. You have to be a university student, have access to laboratories in order to do that, and that is something I'd like to see happen for more people. So I want to talk more about innovation as it goes, because we all talk about innovation. We have to be innovative in our business strategies and what we're doing in order for anyone to give a crap about what we made. So step one is imagine something new and awesome. You're kind of on your own with that. Or hopefully you've read and talked to people, maybe read Hacker News and get inspired. Step two, you got to turn to reality. And that's the hard part. You got to find co-founders, you got to figure out how to build it yourself. There's lots of stuff involved in that. And they have shared night, which is what things like this are for. And if you're the entrepreneur type, instead of the open source software model, you cash in at the very end. So step two is where AllHandsActive is really at. So we try to help turn stuff into reality by providing lots of different things. Because when you break this down even further, you got to learn what's come before, build it, and then you got to document it. But if you don't have access to a laser cutter or a 3D printer, how can you actually begin to build something that's physical? Or if you have no idea how to use Lua, where do you go to find mentors who have done Lua before, can help you build an application with it? So Hackerspace has just been really easy, at least accessible, because what we are is we are open to everybody pretty much all the time. If you come in at 4 a.m., you'll probably still find people there working, and they'll let you in for access to our tools. Here we have a lot of different things that go on. We have the formal diverse classes that happen, usually 2 or 3 different kinds a week. There's been PCB design, lots of other types of stuff. There's formal ambient learning, like Matthew here is good at 3D modeling. If I have a question on making a 3D model in Google SketchUp, I can go there and ask him, and if it's a lot of time, he'll want a burrito in exchange for it, but it's a lot cheaper than hiring consultants. Step 3 is entrepreneurship. There's a lot that goes on. I'll get into more of that later. 4, you try and have as many tools and materials downloaded as possible for people to use. And 5th is the dynamic community. This is really hard to quantify, so I'm not talking about very much. But people down there, they research, they experiment, they review what other people have done, and it's all pretty caffeine fueled. So the main silos that we have here are the physical tool shop, the education, the startup stuff that goes on, and just fostering people doing projects. So go through it. We have a physical workshop downtown in Arbor. It's over on 525 East Liberty in the unmarked basement. And we've been there for about 2 years. We started out in a very small corner, not much there, but now we're at about 900 square feet and have just started to build out a rapid prototyping suite. We're really good with electronics, the rapid prototyping. There's even some craft stuff down there if people want to be part, because it's good to unload it once in a while. If we can raise enough cash to do so, we'll expand even more into more space. Because I'd love to see us do things like get a pick in place to support light manufacturing for hardware startups, because I want to see more hardware startups presenting here. Education, we do lots of formal classes, and they range through all kinds of different stuff. It's like if you have something you're passionate about, we want you to teach a class on it. I've gone down there and talked about immunology. I've gone down and talked about electronics. And some people just come down and ramble for an hour about how they feel about profitability. And these are valuable because it's just informal discussions or formal classes that go on. We do educational outreach. Bright Futures is a program that we do with after schools, programs through middle schoolers, and teach them how to program Arduinos or processing or do hands-on rocketry. Brain Monkeys and Rocks and Robots are 2 local companies that also do after-school education, and a lot of our members are employed by them now. And then there's just the ambient learning I mentioned earlier. Then we've got the startup stuff, and all these are different companies that have either come out of AllHandsActive, hired out of AllHandsActive, or use AllHandsActive's resources. Modality is a good example because they use the laser cutter to do one-off screen printing. I'm not sure if I can list Cyber, we've only had SARMs and Matthew hired out of there, but there's a lot of stuff happens down there, and I'd like to see more of it happen too. So then we have project management. We have a pretty full week. This happens every single week. Then we have hardcore Mondays where the rule is you must finish whatever project you bring. Cannot leave until you do. Tuesdays is the Craftsman Guild, which explores different professional software developments. Last week was making a Twitter clone in Clojure and Heroku. Wednesday we reserve for classes. Thursdays is an open build night. It's like an open house, bring down your project, let's build it. Fridays tend to have hackathons. That's when the meshnet stuff has been happening lately. It's like, I want to have other people play with this box for engineer it. Just announce a hackathon, we'll do it. Class on Saturday again, and then electronics church on Sunday from 10 to 2, if you want to just get started with electronics. We survive mainly off the membership dues. People pay usually $50 a month to be a member, and I'll look what it gets later, but we don't have to spend money on rent utilities and then buying more tools and maintaining them. So our costs generally are pretty low. It costs us about $900 a month to be down there, and we just finally reached a point of cash neutrality, which is awesome. We'd like to turn that around so we can actually start buying more tools. Finish up, membership, that's what gets you all that. Questions?
How many people attend there regularly?
There were 22 paying members this month. Found another 40 come down and don't pay, and that's fine.
Is it pretty crowded?
Sometimes. Yeah, we had to get used to that. We started out in about 90 square feet, and we'll have 12 people around there, around one soldering iron. Then we were in 150 square feet with like 30 people at a time. Now we're 900, so getting bigger and bigger. The bigger tools right now, we have 2 3D printers, a big CNC, there's huge drill press, laser cutter, and a full electronics test suite.
What's something that's been recently made on the 3D printer?
Let's see, 3D printer, there are a bunch of people making small pieces to fix their bikes. Yes.
What's the general makeup of the type of people that go there? Is it all students or a mix or?
There's a mixture of students, people who haven't figured out for a job yet, professionals. Most people, like, the range from 18 to 45. There are a couple high schools come down. That's good for them too. So lots of huge mix of people, and that's one of his strengths. Someone tried to teach me how to crochet once. That was a disaster.
What's the biggest thing you've had built down there since you've expanded?
So the biggest thing we built was probably a Barbie cart. For Maker Faire Racing, we took these little toddlers, electric things, and put 40 volts through 6-volt motors to race it. Anything else?
So Tom Root from Zingerman's was here not too long ago presenting MakerWorks, which is a a similar sort of facility over on the south side of town. How do you guys compare, and what's the relationship with them?
Well, we're trying to be friendly with them, but they haven't opened yet, so we're not sure how to approach it. I'm hoping that we can do classes with them, but I think us being open to anyone, being downtown and being like that late night coffee shop tools will be one of our strengths against them. They're good for people who already know what they want to build. We're good for people to get inspired and then turn their ideas into something without having to cost for it. I guess the last thing we'll announce is this Thursday at 6 o'clock there's going to be an open house down there. So I'd like to invite you to come down and see what it's about. Anything else?
Yeah, what's that?
AllHandsActive.com. Right. I think that's it then.
Next we have Ryan from Chext.
Can you see that okay?
There you go. Perfect.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Ryan Montgomery, co-founder of Chext. And I'm here today to share with you a revolutionary personal finance device. Let me tell you about it. It's ultra portable, slim, fits right in my pocket. It has a super sensitive touch interface. You never have to charge the batteries, and it's made out of renewable materials. Let's take a look. Checkbook, right? Checkbooks are actually really good at helping us track and become aware of our spending. Problem is, we don't use them anymore. We don't write checks. We use debit cards. We swipe and go. We don't track anything. We've resorted to checking our online bank accounts, and we find that we're now unaware of where our money's going. We lose it. They call it mystery spending. This is easy, but tracking our money's hard. Usually we check our online bank account only to find, days later that we've actually overspent. We've grossly overspent. Maybe we were way off in our estimations because we were trying to keep track of it in our head. And it's too late. Checking my online bank account wasn't immediate enough for me. So I created Chext. It didn't provide, online banking didn't provide the level of awareness that I needed. I need to know how my spending now impacts my ability to spend in the future. And it was just telling me what happened in my account yesterday. Well, that doesn't really help me. How do I predict? How do I plan? So I'm just going to show you how Chext is as simple and convenient as sending a text message. How it can help you become aware of your spending now and in the future, and how it can even make sharing an account easier through text messaging. So this is one of our customers, Rebecca, sending a text.
when she goes out and buys coffee in the morning, she would simply text something like 424 coffee. Chext replies immediately with the balance. Based on all the other transactions that we have, we can do the simple math and tell her about that. But Rebecca also shares an account with her husband, Tom. So when she goes out and buys that coffee, Tom is also going to get a text, 424 coffee. And here's what that is.
That's gonna go down.
Yeah, that's gonna go real good.
That's really powerful stuff. If you're in a relationship, they're now both aware of their new balance and are able to make better informed decisions in the moment throughout the rest of the day. This could be a make or break deal for them. Maybe they don't have $229, maybe they have $29 that day, and so it really mattered that day. So this but you don't have to share an account to find value in Chext. Because Chext focuses on your future, it's constantly looking out for you. It's looking at your future transactions and balances, trying to predict when you're going to have a low balance and say, hey, wait a minute, well, something you just bought caused something else bad to happen. You're not going to be able to pay this bill. By the way, you're going to have a low balance this Friday. But how does it know that? Well, as a user of Chext, I've logged into the online calendar, one of the tools you get with Chext, and I've plugged in my recurring expenses and income. I've told it about the future. Because I'm the one entering the information, this allows me to play what-if scenarios. Something like, what if my car payment went up by $100? And, let me back up here and show you. Oh, too far. There we go. So what if my car payment went up by $100? What does that do to my future? How does that impact my ability to spend now and next week? So it goes through, it recalculates and tells me, you can't buy that. You're going to be right. You're going to be negative. Too much. You can't afford that new car. That's really hard to do with a lot of tools. All the stuff out there now looks the same. They've got these really pretty pie graphs and trend lines. They do a really great job at making all of my mistakes look pretty, but they don't really help me with awareness. I'm not more aware of my money. It's just analysis. This isn't how I spend money. I don't even know how to read this. I don't even know what's going on right now. How do I make better, more informed decisions? How does this help me communicate with my spouse? I don't think it does. And they all charge you a monthly fee, or they give it away for free like Mint, and then they sell it to the credit card companies so you get more in debt, and that's not a good thing. We don't do that. We have a philosophy about that. So this is how we make money. We acquire users. We get you to sign up for Chext. It is a free product. We want you to use it. We think it'll help you track your spending more wisely. We analyze your spending patterns. We look at how you're spending your money, where you go often, where the places you go back to, how much you spend there, that kind of thing. We match you with merchants. If you buy coffee all the time, if you always go to Madcap Coffee in Grand Rapids, where Rebecca was, why can't we reward you to keep using Chext with more stuff from Madcap, or more stuff about coffee, or from Big B, or from Starbucks? It's good for you. I like coffee. I drink coffee all the time. I wouldn't mind that. And for doing that, we deliver those rewards and we collect a fee from the merchant. So we also analyze your spending and make that available to merchants so that they can see what are their big exits and entrances, not like on a website like you'd see in Google Analytics, but a merchant dashboard of like, where does everyone come from to my business? And I know that based on spending, how much does the person that came here and spent $40, where did they go afterwards and how much did they spend? So some of those analytics are really important. We can leverage those and charge money for them. But delivering rewards, things like, hey, there's a 10% off coupon on that TV you're planning on buying at Best Buy. You want to come in and buy it now, and Best Buy will pay us for that. So this is who's building it. There's a third person here who's not pictured, Samuel Bowles, but that's Jeff Bell, that's me. I'm a software developer. I originally created this as a way for me and my wife to stop fighting about money, believe it or not. I brought Jeff on, a guy I've worked with for years, a project manager, marketer. He built the calendar piece 10 years ago so he could remember when to pay his bills while he was in college, and we kind of married the two together. Samuel is our designer and interaction expert. We also have awesome advisors. Both of these guys, Lynn Eddy and Jason Plimmel, have started companies to the point of acquisition. They bring a lot of experience, and they've been great helping us kind of understand how to make this cool idea we have into an actual business, into a product. And we have actual users. This is out. You can sign up for it now. I'm actually going to ask you to do that in the next slide. And they love it. Absolutely love the calendar. Predicting my mini future is pretty soon. This is a couple months ago. We've added a lot more stuff now to make it even easier. But we don't want to stop where we're at. We have a lot of really awesome big ideas. Things like a better merchant dashboard, game mechanics to incentivize you to say, hey, keep coming back and plan your spending. That's actually a good thing for you to do. Let's give you rewards to do that. That's what we mean by game mechanics. Better budgeting and goals module so you can plan to buy a TV or try to save up for that vacation. We can help you plan that out on your calendar. Not like in an envelope kind of way, but in like you're actually tracking this money dollar for dollar. A native mobile app. Right now everything is through SMS. There's no internet, no download. It works on any SMS-enabled phone. And the Chext debit card is something we're trying to figure out. Like, what if I didn't have to text? What if I could swipe and go, but still get all the other benefits of the analysis or the awareness and getting all of the communication that I get with my spouse and the future predictions? And how can I get all that with just a swipe? How can we make it as easy as possible? This is some of the stuff we're building in the future. So 2,000 users by October 3rd is the challenge I've been given. I think it was Aaron Scott, who's another entrepreneur in the area, created Downstream. I told him I would try to hit that. We're only about 9% of the way there now. So I'm going to ask all of you to sign up and create an account. Give it a shot. Kick the tires. If you don't end up using it because you have your own workflow, that's great, but I'd really appreciate it if you would sign up. You might actually like it and stick around. So checkbooks are great at helping us track our spending. We've tried to move away to other things, and we've kind of lost track of where our money was going at the cost of spending too much, at the cost of paying overdraft fees, at the cost of getting into fights with your significant other. But with Chext, with Chext, we help you stay aware of where your spending is going. We try to make it as easy as possible. And it's as easy as if you can text, you can Chext. Thank you. One question. You kept your hand up the whole time.
So when I get a notification that my wife has bought a coffee for $4.24, can I void it out? Because I would pay for that.
No. But I mentioned the Chext debit card, and this is, I hope that we can build this and make it work eventually. And so far there's a lot of technical challenges, but one of the things we'd love to make is the Chext single card for all my accounts. So the way it would work is you'd swipe your card and you'd immediately get a push notification on your mobile device that would say, what account do you actually want to pay for this with? And we can be smart and look into all of your accounts and say, oh, if you paid for this with which you typically do out of your checking account, you're going to have a negative balance in 2 weeks. So why don't you not do that? Why don't you pay for it with this credit card where you have plenty of room? Being able to do that on the fly, that's something we're vetting right now. But that's like a crazy idea that we have that we hope to make work. But no, so right now you can't do that, sorry. One question. So that's it.
All right,
That's it. Talk to me, I'll be around, so feel free to ask me all the questions you want. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, and last up we have Vinay from Joolze.
Okay. So I guess I'm last up. My name is Vinay Gupta. I'm with Joolze, and it's the first time I've been here where I was talking to a bunch of people, and I'm looking actually for smart developers to help me finish this up, and Doug suggested I come and pitch this here. So real quickly, the story here is about a year and a half ago or so, we launched this site, Joolze.com. You can go to it if you're interested. It's really, as it says here, a free site to select, compare, and save money on energy for your home. kind of was driven off of my personal experience of trying to say, what can I do to save energy? And you can see a lot of sites on the web that educate, that tell you a lot of things, that preach, from tree hugger to Energy Star to all kinds of stuff, but nothing that tells me what can I do today in a matter of seconds or minutes once I put in my home address. That's all you got to do. So we launched this about a year and a half ago, and we got actually a fair amount of good feedback and input with this. But what I quickly realized is there's no compelling reason for people to go back after the first time they've come in there. So the site's still up. You can go take a look at it. So we kind of started to pivot and start looking at building out a social game on Facebook. So this is where we are. This is basically taking all the data. By the way, we have collected information for 40,000 plus zip codes in the United States, that everything from climate information that can translate very quickly into how much solar energy, how much wind energy you can generate if you wanted to, how much you can do by saving on appliances, all kinds of information. And so what we're trying to do is build out a slightly different kind of game. This is a game based on real data. You put in your, all you have to do is enter your zip code and it can get you started. You can play much like the standard social games on Facebook that Zynga puts out, but it's based on real information, and it's going to, without trying to be preachy, it's mostly entertainment based, but it has a real serious purpose, which is that the more you play, the more you get rewarded with real coupons. So unlike, say, a Farmville, Mafia Wars, any of those kinds of games where you have to redeem Facebook credits to continue to play, this is kind of flipped around. The more you play, the more you're going to get rewarded with real coupons for real products that you can go out and buy. So kind of this is how it works. You have a starter home to begin with, and you can go out and make changes around the home. You can then see how, based on those changes, the value of your home may or may not increase. You can go out and sell your home. You look at that sell button right here. And you can go buy another house somewhere else in the United States. And this is all, again, those home prices are going to be based on real census information for pretty much every zip code in the United States. And the more you play, the more coupons you accumulate. And this is kind of the trend that we're starting to see, where people want to be rewarded at the point that they do something, where they're feeling good about themselves. That's the best time for a merchant to come in and offer a coupon, or offer make some kind of an offer to try and capture a new customer. So that's really what we try to build out. In summary, it's going to be we've teamed up with some really smart gamers that have a tremendous amount of experience to really think through the game mechanics and make sure we don't make this too preachy or too serious, focus on entertainment. It's going to be scalable to really get, while energy may be the first thing we look at, there's a whole host of other things around the house, from health to safety to other things that we're going to continue to add in to keep moving, adding more feature functionality. And the objective, of course, will be to try and that's our monetization model too, is to continue to ask merchants to make offers at the point somebody makes a transaction within that game. So that's really what it is. This is kind of when you go redeem a coupon, it'll give you a little bit of a blurb on what the product is. There may be all kinds of products. There may be special offers at that point in time. You can redeem those coupons and get those products. So, stuck there 5 minutes. Okay, questions?
So I saw on one of the first screens you listed alternative energy providers. Does that go into like comparing rates as markets deregulate for energy providers? Like, I know members of like the PJM independent system operators, they started, you have market-based rates there. Does that go and compare like what you
So I'm going to kind of go back and forth between, Joolze has all that information. So if you want to switch providers, not all states are deregulated. Michigan is kind of deregulated, not for homeowners, it's deregulated for the commercial. So we have some of that information. From the game point of view, I think that's too much detail. We do have actual electricity and natural gas information, but we'll aggregate it and average it out per state. So if you live in 48105, 48104, so you'll get Michigan information.
Is there any meaning behind the name?
Joolze?
Yeah. No, it's the name you wrote down, or?
Jules Verne?
Isn't it like Joule as an energy? Yeah.
So is this completely virtual? Because there's a lot of companies out that are working out. Is this completely virtual?
Yeah, it's not connected to any smart meters or any devices to your home.
Okay.
If that's the question.
Have you looked at that alternative? Because there's been a lot of that, so that hopefully you have to.
Yeah, that's not our objective. There's a lot of that going on. That's not the direction we're taking. We're saying, how do you make this into an entertaining, interesting experience? Maybe you learn, maybe you don't. But also, it's kind of getting rewarded to play a game with real products. It's flipping the Zynga model on its head. Do you have questions? No. Yeah.
Is this live right now? Can people play it?
No, it's not live. That's why, in fact, I started by saying I'm actually looking for people to help me finish the game up. We've got a small team, but we need more people to we're about 75% of the way down. Do you have a question?
How do you plan on getting people to find out about this? How do you acquire users?
Yeah, so part of it is the standard usual way you acquire users by doing standard SEO and advertising and all that. Plus, there'll be a whole host of viral aspects, social aspects built into it to try and get you to if you are a player, to get your neighbors, your friends, your other people to, standard stuff that you see on most social games that build in the viral aspects to it.
I'm interested in joining your team, but I was curious what kind of skill sets are you looking for?
That's John, that's a good step. John's part of the team. So we're looking for somebody that that has Flash development skills for the front end as well as on the back end, somebody that has Java and kind of MySQL database, because there's a huge database on the back end that supports the whole thing. So that's the kind of skill set.
Oracle?
Sorry?
What type of database are you?
MySQL.
That's free. Why you don't use something more advanced?
Don't think we need it at this point in time. It seems pretty...
No, I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
Sure. Yeah. At this point in time, I think it seems adequate for...
Sorry?
No.
So Vinay, how are you going about collecting data on the back end into that database? How do you
That's
develop those
proprietary.
relationships?
Huh?
How do you develop those relationships?
That's proprietary. I wish I could tell you, but that's part of one of our secret sauces, the sheer volume of data we've already collected. So we have 22 years of monthly climate information that we have based on zip code that we collected from NASA, for instance. Of that, we've been able to translate that to both how much solar energy you can generate pretty much anywhere, how much wind energy. And again, it's still reasonably gross information. If you got a tree close to your house that's providing a lot of shade, we don't capture that. That's not our objective in any case. Our objective is to kind of get you some ballpark. Okay. Oh, one more.
Is it built entirely in Flash right now?
The front end, yes.
Do you have any concerns as far as people are adapting more and more sort of mobile devices? Flash doesn't run on the iPad, for
That's right. So today this is going to be a Facebook game. Right now we're not looking at mobile. Down the road, sure, but not today.
That's it for Vinay.